This is a scarred forest, a once beautiful and serene place now twisted with dark magic. But it can be serene again once more with your help, she says, very cheesily. We're diving into some origin stories today, and I love a good origin story. This episode will be all about the conflict caused by the people in nature. We're going to meet the people on the island who first turned to dark magic, and discover who the fallen hero was before he got his unfortunate title. I'm Jade the Willow, and welcome back to this 3 million block adventure map. I'm going to build a tunnel from this side to the other side of the mountain. I think I'll use the mine that I built in the last video and stretch it out a little across the mountain. Now we add in some trees. I figure a time lapse of me pasting trees up and down the coast of the land won't be too exciting, so we'll just do a grand reveal and then get into what's hidden in the forest, which will be much more exciting. And ta-da! I don't want to add in too many trees before I figure out where I'm putting all of the builds, because then I'll just have to get rid of the trees and that's a whole mess. Over there is where the dark magic users will practice, and the tunnel will come out over here-ish, but where I am now is going to be, are you ready for this? Ta-da! I feel so satisfied. It's perfect. Job well done. I'm just kidding. We're going to add to it a little bit, but my original plan was to put lookout towers around the island, so this ties it all in, and we'll put another one on the far side. I wanted to tie in the house designs from the town, but I also want to keep the simplicity of the tower, so I used some of the same things from the roof design, but didn't do like the swirly top and so on. Since this is going to be the home of our fallen hero, I thought it deserved a little extra bit. One of the first things you'll find in the tower is an unsent letter from the hero, which reads, "Mom, I've been stationed at the far side of the tower. It feels a little pointless since there's nothing over here. It's boring, but I'm trying to be grateful for the assignment. I know it shows the guard has a lot of trust in me, though through some logistical errors, my partner wasn't assigned to start for a few days. Hopefully that will help the boredom. I have to keep a log about what happens. So far, it's been the same every day. Nothing to report. I have to find some postage. I'll send this letter once I do, but I won't get access to that until we get a chance to leave to visit the town, so I guess by that time I might as well just bring this letter and tell you the news myself." You'll also find a report log kept by the tower guard, who is our fallen hero. In the tower guard log, we're going to have a lot of nothing to report, and I finally came up with a dating system because I didn't want to do our dating system. So instead, I'm doing 2 phases, in between the winter and summer solstice and in between the summer and winter solstice. The tower log will have a lot of nothing to reports with bits of story written in the journal. For example, 182. I saw a light near the old Velen ruins towards the north of the tower during my night watch shortly after the sun was set. It looked like torchlight. Tomorrow I will investigate. As far as I know, there aren't any groups on the island that celebrate the solstice out in the forest instead of at the city festival. The Velen ruins were empty, and the only sign that people had been there was recently scuffed up dirt on the trail and around the ruins. But it doesn't look like there were many people, only about 5. Arden and I will keep an eye on it going forward. A few more nothing to reports. 2-5. Again, shortly after sundown, I saw lights coming from the ruins. I woke Arden up and we decided I should investigate. By the time I made my way to the ruins, whoever was there had gone. I'm beginning to get suspicious. Not only are they bringing fire into a forest in the midst of a drought, but no one in town knows anything about this either. 2-8. Apparently the Haston farm was miraculously healed and is on its way to producing crops again. Otherwise, nothing to report on the far side. What was he seeing, you may be wondering? Let's go build it. Our hero stands up here when he first sees the light shining in the night in the forest. Or maybe on the mountainside? That could be cool, but I do have a vision for the forest. This is where the darkest part of the forest is going to be. The mine entrance will be over here, and then there will be a small path that runs along the mountain. And then I can disguise a path towards the dark magic place, so it's not so obvious from the pathway, but you can see it from the tower. Though you know they weren't very smart if they didn't hide their place from the giant tower. This is the spot, and you can see why I said I didn't want to put too many trees in. I'll make this into a clearing and carve out the land so it's better for building. I'm creating a ruined building deep in the forest. I want the magic users to have taken up residence in the old ruins, not in a place that they built. And I think a building from long ago that has been forgotten and abandoned is perfect. I'm going off of a much more standard medieval style for this, since the people who built this are different from those of the city, and I'm using tuff because I love it so much. I can't tell you how excited I was when I found out they were adding all of the tuff variations in the 1.21 update. So happy. I think I'll add bits here and there as we go along because I'd like it to look more interesting. But for now, this is the base. These runes are supposed to be really old. Oh my goodness, that's very personal. I have a really great idea for the mountain that we'll get to in a moment. So now we can put in the dense forest and all the dead stuff and fill this area out. But we should do the path first. We haven't seen the fog wall for a while, but I wanted you to know it's still there, and it is magnificent. It makes me so happy. I'm still building up the forest, but this little edge gets close enough to see the fog wall with my low render distance. Plenty of trees and dead stuff. Dead stuff. I was going to say greenery, but that's the whole point, is there is no greenery. In addition to all of the little spots of dark magic around the island, we also need to show a giant mark of dark magic on the land, something dramatic. And what I think would be interesting is to split the mountain. Not in half, but put a giant rift in it to connect the rift to the place where the magic was being cast. We're going to create a giant line, as if they cast a final dark spell and it, split the island, metaphorically. As we build the giant dark scar, I'm going to read more from the guard log, since what I'm doing doesn't require that much explaining. I'm just making a giant dark mark. 2:10. I saw a light near the ruins again and went immediately out to investigate. This time I was able to see a few villagers from town and the high mage standing around at the ruins. I kept my distance, not knowing why they were sneaking around. I wanted to gain all the information I could before letting them know my presence. While waiting, I stumbled into some bushes that seemed devoid of life. I know everything is dying because of the drought, but this was something different. It was as if the color had seeped out of it. I might not have taken too much note of it, except that only slightly further away I saw a bush that was vibrantly green. By the time I'm writing this, I've already sent word to the captain of the guard for further information. I decided against a confrontation until I receive instructions from the captain. This shape is way too weird, so what I'm going to do is create it from the mountain and have it stretch all the way to the ruins, as if they cast their spell in the ruins and then it spread and split the mountain. And then I'll also make lots of little offshoots, as if the darkness is kind of like spreading and cracking everything. Continuing our guard log. 2:12. Arden and I have noticed some areas near the ruins that seem to have life sapped out of them. Patches of gray grass, not brown, gray. And then I added little dash marks to represent a ripped page, which I think is pretty cool, and that finishes off our guard log. I'm going to group the different story sections by type. For example, in the village, all of the books and quills will be labeled journal entry, except for the scavenger hunt clues. And then for this area, I'll label everything as a letter 1, letter 2, and in the future I can use notes, maybe in the castle, and hopefully that'll help keep the different story sections clear for our adventure. Next up, we need to make a mine entrance on the far side of the island. This will be where the path from the lower city leads and how you will have access to the area. The mine entrance will come out here on the northern edge, and then the path will connect it to the guard tower. I'm just going to use the same design as the mine entrance near the city because that ties it all together, but I'll break off the rail on this side to help show that things haven't been used in a while. Okay, I ended up adding in another entrance to the mountain, so you just have to go a little bit further along, but I like it. It, adds more to the area. Scattered throughout the mine and the far side will be letters. The letters they'll find in this area, the far side of the island, will be detailing a little bit of the correspondence between the High Mage and the other users of dark magic, and it'll kind of cover how they got to where they ended up to cast the dark mark and a little bit of the conflict between the group. So let's dive into them now. The letters will read, I believe our best chance of success is during the high solstice. We shall meet at the old Velen ruins at sundown to prepare our plan. If all goes accordingly, we shall be the heroes of the island. I know you're growing impatient, but I fear that too many miracles will negatively affect the island. Remember, we can't create from nothing, and if we take too much, then we will not only suffer from drought, but also have no hope. For now, we focus on keeping the Hasten farm producing food. It is time to meet again. The Hasten farm is failing, and we need to pull more energy from the island to supply it with life. Velen runes at sundown. Hi, Mage. Some of us are concerned about the rate at which we're pulling energy from the island. I know you assured us that the land would heal itself, but without water, I fear it's not happening. You said yourself weeks ago that we can't pull too much energy from the land without ruining everything. Frace, Cortel, and I are out. We don't want any further part in it. We promise not to tell the villagers if you let us leave peacefully. Henri Gelwin. I had so much fun coming up with the names. I just wrote down whatever letters came to me. 3 of our order have betrayed us, have been rightly punished. I hope I need not remind you that we are sacrificing ourselves to restore the island. We have already given so much to the magic that we cannot back down now. We must finish our mission to save the island. Those that oppose me will be imprisoned in the Mage's Tower with the others. The village is starting to wonder about the cost to their success. If they find out we are the ones responsible, I'm not confident that they will shower us with gratitude. Don't fret. They will. We just have to show them how much they need us first. We must discover who in the city will support us when we make ourselves known. Tonight we will cast a final spell to revitalize the city and all of its surrounding lands. It's time to reveal ourselves as the saviors of the island. The challenge for the last part of the world is to defeat monsters. There are going to be pillagers wandering around the map. As your character journeys through the far side of the island, they will have to defeat the pillagers that haunt the forest. On a technical level, when a player kills a mob within a certain area, it will trigger a command block that pastes in the restored land. I will be breaking the land into 5 sections, well, the far side of the island anyway, over here with all the forest, which doesn't require too much from the player. However, I don't want it to become too repetitive, so that's why I'm not doing more than 5. Besides, you'll run into more than 5 monsters. Because the far side of the island is mostly wilderness, I want the challenge to be more fluid and less tied to location. And hopefully by this point, the player will have found enough armor around the town that their life isn't too much in danger. Then, once you're done in this area, you'll have to backtrack a bit to the city, unless you did that first, I suppose. Now we get to brighten the place up and make the restored area. Now, let's see if we can turn this dark line into something a little bit more happy. Ready? I guess I should have read up on moss rules first. Okay, plan 2. And there we go, that looks much better. As you can see, the mountain isn't fully healed, and I want it that way. It marks a point of no return for the land and its people, and even though the land is being healed, thanks to you, our new hero, and its inhabitants will return and rebuild their lives, you can't just completely erase the history. There will be a lot more low light level spots on the far side of the island, since there are more trees, which will result in more monster spawns. And even when the island is restored, there is still going to be a lot of low light areas. This ties it all in with the idea that you're healing the land from dark magic, but things don't instantly restore to exactly how they were before. That rhymed. That was really weird. Anyway, restoring the island completely is something that's going to require a group effort from the villagers. And that is where we're headed next, to the upper city. Thanks for watching. It means a lot to me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!